Hey everyone, I have a New Age to Jesus Epiphany. If you're already in Christ, this is kind of obvious, but if you're not, there's basically a thing called spiritual warfare, and it exists. It is very much real. New Age doesn't really have a concept or a framework for evil and Satan. If you're in the New Age, you don't acknowledge God or Satan exists, so obviously you're not going to believe in spiritual warfare. But after coming to Christ and giving my life to Christ from the New Age, I went through this really crazy spiritual warfare, and the Bible gave me a framework that explains what's happening, why it's happening. Essentially, when you leave the New Age, Satan gets kind of upset. He lost one of his toys to God again, so he'll come after you in a certain way. Now, this doesn't mean that everything is spiritual warfare in Christ. It took me a while to get into my authority as a Christian and get a handle on spiritual warfare. There are other things and other reasons why bad things, quote unquote, bad things happen. Some things are actually even from God to make you stronger, wiser, and send you through what you need to go through to become what he needs you to be. But just having a framework for spiritual warfare, that Satan exists, demons exist, fallen angels exist, really put a lot of things into perspective that didn't make sense in the New Age. Again, New Age is more like high vibrational beings and low vibrational beings. There's a lot of multi-dimensions. Kind of think of Marvel's multiverse, but it's just more generalized for all of us to experience. New Age promotes a lot of entities, aliens, both good and bad. Quote unquote good and bad, because it's more of a subjective experience. Because without a framework for evil, the dichotomy is good and bad, and it's really a personal truth, human level truth of what good and bad is. It's not the ultimate truth of God versus Satan's evil. So it's kind of fascinating to come to Christ and learn that spiritual warfare exists. I just want to read Ephesians 6 verse 12. Kind of puts it into perspective, because we're not fighting against people. We're fighting against this entity, this, if you want to call it energy, it is an evil kingdom of beings. I'm going to read from two different versions. The first one is the Geneva 1560. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness, which are in the high places." And then the New Living Translation, it's a little bit more clear because it's a thought-for-thought version. It says, "For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places." So, yeah. We have these entities that we are fighting, these spiritual principalities of the kingdom of darkness. Seems kind of wild until you experience it. Kind of reminds me of narcissistic abuse. Trying to explain to people who haven't been through the same abuse what I've been through, they just think I'm making it up. There's no framework for narcissistic abuse. And I wasn't in Christianity. I didn't follow Jesus when I was going through it. I was in the New Age. A lot of my healing took place after I came to Christ, because I didn't have a lens and understanding of what I'd gone through. You really can't explain narcissistic abuse and a narcissist without having a framework of evil and actual wickedness and demons. Now, my narcissist is and was definitely human, but looking back and experiencing his eyes going black and, just the things that he chose to do and the experiences I've been through, even in attempts on my own life, at the end, it's I didn't have an understanding. But knowing that demons and demon oppression happens doesn't excuse human behavior. I believe he partnered with these demons, but it kind of makes everything come into clarity when you have a lens and understanding of spiritual warfare. And this may be a totally crazy video to non-Christians and non-narcissistic abuse survivors, but you just kind of have to experience evil to understand that it exists and At least through Christ, we know how to defend ourselves. We have authority in Christ. There's already a victory. Jesus died on the cross and already redeemed us or bought us back from the devil in more ways than one. We are living out the triumph of his victory, not just the victory itself. Satan's been disarmed. It's just we have to start living out that reality. So again, not everything is spiritual warfare, but just knowing that it exists definitely opens up a lot of understanding and healing process when it comes to dealing with these principalities and powers of darkness. Because yeah, there's good angels in heaven that still serve God, and there are fallen angels and demons who serve Satan and his kingdom. And the only conspiracy theory I believe in now is that there is a very real battle for each and one of our souls. We may not realize it, especially if you don't believe in God. You don't really realize that there is a heaven and a hell, and it's up to you. It's your choice. God doesn't send anybody to hell. It's a human decision just to not believe in God. And it's for another video to explain how he's still a loving God, even though we can choose to send ourselves to hell or not. It's pretty wild to explain in just one little quick video. But this is about spiritual warfare that exists. Once you realize that, but then you realize your authority in Christ and the armor of God and how to go through, everything you go through in life. I think it's essential to know that these things actually exist. And I'm glad I came to Christ and I'm out of the new age, high vibration, low vibrational entities, and a very worldly view of good and bad, and not true evil and true goodness. So, thanks for listening. I love you guys.